I'm back. So I am, hello witchy people, by the way. So I'm just making sure my microphone's working. I'm going to start making what I'm putting inside my boxes, and it's going to start off with a basic folio, and I'm going to make 8 of them, and it's going to be for the wheel of the year, so we can log and celebrate and everything. So this is the basic folio, and although the measurements may not seem very good for those in America with their 11 by 8.5 A4, it can still be done, because the paper that you cut off, because you're going to need 5 5/8, the paper that you cut off remaining you will be using in these anyway, so don't worry about it too much. Right, so this, I mean, you could do it by having a slightly smaller spine here, but I think you need that 3/8 of a spine. Anyway, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is, and I have a whole ton of them here because I'm making lots. I have 2 boxes to fill. So the first thing you're going to need is, which ones am I using? Is it these ones? Yes, it is. You're going to need a piece that is 5 5/8 by 8 1/4. The reason it's 8 1/4, I was going to have it as 9. The reason it's 8 1/4 is because that's the full length of a UK A4. If you wanted it at 8.5, go for it. It will still work. In fact, it'll probably be slightly better. So on the 5 5/8 side, you want a score line at 5 1/4, and you need 2 of those. So you could score at 3 5/8, no, 3/8 in, but it's easier to score it at 5 1/4 that way. And you want 2. And what you're going to do is, I am going to use red line tape. If I can get one that's not stuck to my paper. Oh my. It's good stuff. So the reason I use red line tape is because it's quite inexpensive. You can also use something called blue line tape, which is exactly the same, but blue. It does have some, you know, it doesn't have all the benefits of what a lot of crafters use, which is score tape. I don't buy score tape anymore because, okay, this one's slightly wider. This is score tape. It's very, very expensive. It's brilliant stuff, but it's very, very expensive. I don't know what it's like in America. In England, it's very, very expensive, and it's made in Korea. We call it score tape. The Koreans call it, oh, that's upside down. See if I can get it. Oh, music from, anyway, the Koreans call it sukwang. It's not going to, there it is, sukwang. What a brilliant name. But yeah, so red line tape is just as good. It works just as well. It's heat resistant, the same as score tape. So is mobile phone tape, but I find this is slightly stronger. I may have to go and close my window actually, because I don't want to get a strike for anything for having music playing in the background that I haven't got a license for. So you fold at the score lines, like so. I'm going to put on a little bit of tape here. Oh dear, I think I'm going to have to close my window. Okay, one moment. It's going to upset the cats. The cats love coming in through my window. Okay, have fun, people. Party people. There we go. Let's close that up so I don't get into trouble and have my video removed. Okay, back again. Okay. So all the folios that I'm making this are going to have this same base. I'm just going to add on to them differently, and obviously decorate them differently. So I'm going to take off that piece of tape backing. Right, the other thing I will be using, because I'm going to be selling these, they're not for personal use, I'm going to be selling them. I'm going to be using Tyvek to strengthen these, and they use it for all sorts of things. People who have got puppies use different coloured Tyvek strips to put around the puppies so they know which puppy's which, and I've got black ones because I use black card a lot. These are obviously pre-scored. You can buy it in big sheets. It's very cheap to buy in big sheets. It's incredibly strong. The reason why I'm doing it is because when this is being used a lot, I don't want it to break apart when someone's using it. If I'm making something and then selling it to someone, I want to make sure that they have it for a long time. Okay, so I'm putting these together, but I do not want to cover that score line. Oh, they're having a proper party down there. Oh dear. Let's try that again. Oh dear, right. Guess who's put their glasses on top of their head instead of in front of their eyes again. So just in front of the score line, make it nice and level. This is not level. I don't know what I've done wrong here. Okay, so any imperfections like this being slightly longer here. So obviously this is, I haven't cut this down at all. It's 8 1/4 because that's the English size. And obviously you can see there's a bit of a discrepancy there. Not my cutting, which makes a change. And I think the best thing I can do with that is just cut off. Obviously, if you're cutting the paper down yourself, like in America, and you're cutting it down from, is it 8 1/2? You won't have that mistake because you'll be cutting it yourself and you'll be very accurate. You won't have a big machine to do it. Okay, let's get rid of that wee bit there. So that gives you a nice double strength in the centre, a bit wobbly on the outside. I should say this card is about 200 GSM. I think it feels more like 180. I don't know what that is in pounds for America, but I think it's about 180 GSM. You can look it up on Google and find out what 180 GSM is in pounds. So I know that this won't go the full length of this, but that's okay. I'm going to cut off that white bit at the top. So basically what this is doing is, when this gets worn and used, the edges here will get very, or might get very worn, and obviously, you know, they go kind of like fluffy, like feathery, and then they become weak and they can break. With the Tyvek behind it, it's going to have that strength of the Tyvek, because Tyvek is really hard to, you can cut it, but it's really hard to pull apart. Oh crikey, we used to buy Tyvek suits to do decorating in. Now you can tape this on, but I don't want the extra bulk, so I'm going to glue it on. Oh, they're really having fun at that party. And that's indoors. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't want to know. As long as they're having a good time and don't involve me, that's fine. Okay, so we're putting that in the centre, and we'll leave that to dry. And like I say, I'm using black because then it won't show as much in the finished result. I did have one, and I made a bit of a cock up, and I had to colour in the Tyvek black, and it notices. So next I am going to use another sheet of card, and all I've done is I have cut it in half, and then I have scored it. So I've cut it in half. I don't know how long it is because I don't do, so it's about 5 7/8, something like that, but that doesn't matter. What you need is to have this bit along here, score it at 5 1/8, and have enough here for a little tiny bit. Now you could just use it and not have this flap here. This is for me to add on to later, so you could just put it on and then make a little hinge, if you like, afterwards when you start building up the thing. So you can use up your smaller pieces of paper. Like I said, this is 5 1/8. At the score line, or 5 1/8 if you don't want that score line and you want 2 of those, and for some reason mine are different lengths. I don't know, but that's okay, as long as it's scored at 5 1/8. And I'm just going to quickly do that. And this is where I'm going to get really annoyed with myself, because I will guaranteed find that the pages are all a different shape and size. So I'm going to take back the bit that I had with the Tyvek on, and once again I'm going to score at 5 1/4, turn it and score it at 5 1/4, because that then will help that Tyvek to bend. I'm bending it one way gently, and then I'm bending it the other way less gently. Okay, and that's so that I can see where the creases are, so I don't go over. Now the idea is you always want to stay away from these score lines, like you did when you... Oh, aren't they having fun? Like you did avoiding the score lines here. You're going to do the same here. So you want this up to the edge of the page, but not covering a score line, which is why I've got that 1/8 of an inch gap. What I actually have found is if you don't score this and you put the paper on first, you can score it afterwards, and it's actually a lot easier because you can get the exact score. I'll show you what I mean. So put on the paper. I really have got to get this glue watered down. I've got some distilled water. I can water it down, but where I haven't used it for so many years, it's really thick and gunky. Oh dear, that's quite funny. They've been partying all day. All day. You've got to admire their stamina. I couldn't do it. Not anymore anyway. Okay, so I'm keeping away from my score line. just by a little bit so that I can still bend it up and it's not in the way. And there it is. Right, I'm going to quickly do it to the other side whilst that's drying. You notice I'm checking my paper. The paper it's slightly different one side to the other. I can see the paper fibres on one side and I can't on the other. It's barely a difference, but I notice it, so I like to stick the bits where I can see the paper fibres together rather than have them odd. I don't know if it's going to make any difference, but you know. I don't know why I did that. It was just fun. Right. Okay, once again, almost up to the gusset, up to the score line, but not quite, so that, oh, don't want that there, so that it can still be folded. Okay. The only problem with buying cheap paper, cheap card, is that obviously the manufacturer, when it cuts it down, isn't as precise as you'd like them to be. Okay. So let's get my scoreboard out again. Right, as you can see, right, let's get it up so that I can see. Line up the edge of your paper there, right on the score line, and then score. She says, moving her paper. Do not move your paper. And then when you bend it, hopefully you won't be able to see it on this side. This is way out. Do it on here. So it's going the original score line instead. So yeah, if you score it after, I can't believe they got that much energy this late at night after going all day. Oh dear. No wonder my cat was meowing to come in. Right, there we go. That's a nice edge there. Just fold this one back a bit. And I'm going to cut off this overhang bit here. I'm doing it by hand because it's only a tiny little bit. See, tiny little bit. Okay, so that is the base folio. And you need 8 of them for this. So we're going to add more stuff onto the sides here. And what you're also going to need is, for the very centre, you're going to need, I don't know how many pages I'm going to use, but you want white, and it's just white paper, and this is 10 yes, 10 by 8, I do believe. So when you fold it in half, I don't want that many because I don't want it all sticking out in the middle. I think I want about 5. I think that would be nice. 3, 4, 5. 5 should be a nice amount. And you can always kind of trim it if it looks a bit messy. So there's my 5. So that is now 5 by 8. So you're cutting it at 10 by 8. What did I put here? I did put 10 by 8. Okay, and these are going in the middle. As you can see, there's plenty of space, so you've got plenty of space to add things at the sides. So this is going in the middle. Over the top of this, you're going to want pieces that are let me get this out. Get out the white ones. Some I folded up, some I haven't. Right, so you're going to want 10 1/4 by 8 in the black cardstock, and you want to score this at 5 and 5 and, yeah, so 5 1/8, but also 5 and 5 1/2. That's just going to give you a little bit of give over the paper that you're going to use, so you get that little bit of extra length, so it's not going to, the white paper isn't going to stick out of the sides, so like that. Okay, and this will go in here, and we are going to sew it in. But like I said, we're going to do a lot more here. So that's the basic of your folio. I will be doing the stitching for this in a bit. But yeah, that is it. And as this dries, hopefully the lumps will come out because I didn't burnish it very well. But because it's double thickness, it will be quite sturdy and strong, which is what you want. Oh dear, okay. Next. I am just using the white pages, and I am using just 5 sheets folded in half, so that's 10 leaves, 10 pages. Oh, crikey. It is so hot in here. That's what's left of my ice cubes after about 2 minutes. It's it's so, to be blunt and rather rude, and probably quite offensive, it's as hot and humid as Hecate's hoo-ha in here. Okay. I'm going to start sneezing, I know I am. Okay, so our next job is to sew the signatures together and into the folios. I am using nylon string, nylon bead thread. I think this is either 1 or 1.5 mil. I think it's a 1 mil. Feels like a 1 mil. You measure 3 times the length of your book approximately. I burn the end to make it easier to thread. glasses on. Yep, that's not too bad. Let me just get that into a point. And I have a I have a needle with a fair sized hole. Don't know if you can see that. There's a tomato seed on my finger. That would be from the tomatoes that I ate earlier. Oh dear. No, I dropped it. Right, so I'm going to thread this. As you can see, I've still got the shakes. Part of that is due to the hot weather. Okay, what I've done with each of the folios, so I've made probably see better on this side. Can you see there's holes? There are 5 holes in the centre of my folio. So what you can do, and what some people like to do, is to double get some double-sided sticky tape and put just a line of it down there to keep this cover straight on here and stop it from moving about, which can be a good idea, but I'm not doing that right now. So what I've done is I have taken so this is 8 inches. I have taken a piece of paper 8 inches and marked along the side where I want the holes to be, and they are at 1/2 inch, 2 1/4 inches, 4 inches, 5 3/4 inches, and 7 1/2 inches. So that's where my holes have been punched here. So now what I'm going to do is make sure that's all nicely tucked in and in the right place. So I'm holding it. You can hit it with the ruler to get it in, but that should be fine like that. I am placing my piece of paper where the holes are, just inside. A lot of people will fold it into the middle and go through. I find it easier this way. And remember, you are lining this up absolutely, and it has to be absolutely perfect. And I don't do perfect. Okay, you can mark it with a pen first if it makes it easier. I happen to have lost my pen, so all I'm doing is I'm going through, I'm taking my punch, my pokey tool, which is covered in double-sided sticky tape, and I'm going to punch the holes where I've marked them through the paper, and this is why I've got it slightly folded out through the middle of the pages here. So you punch your 5 holes just gone a bit dodgy now. Oh dear, 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 dear. The last one is up there. Okay. I said I've already punched the holes, so I lined up this, and there will be a 1/8 of an inch gap, top and bottom. You line up to the centre. Oh. So I can get a bit more light on here. You line up to the centre of your spine, and then you punch the holes in. Okay, you start on the top, whichever one happens to be your top, and on the outside, but first I'm just going to line up these holes and see, because sometimes you'll find that it might be a better fit one way than the other, and this is a better fit this way. So this is the way I'm going to sew it. So I'm going to start on the outside of my cover. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I had it inside out. Start on the outside of my cover and go in the first hole, leaving a tail just under the length of your book. Then I'm going to go through this, what they call a signature. I'm sure you all know that. You don't need to be told from me. Oh, if you can find the hole, that is. So through cover of the signature, through the pages. Now I'm going to go back through, so back through my pages, back through the inner cover, back through my pages, back through my inner cover, and then back out of my folio to the outside again. Oh. Did I say that I've measured this roughly 3 times? Probably just over. Right, now I'm going back inside through the outside of the book, through the inner. Oh, I don't work well in heat. I really don't. I'm going to separate all of this. Right, through that bit, through that bit. Apparently not through that bit. Okay, and then through the white papers. This is just copy paper, copier paper. Which is 80 GSM. Like I said, I don't know what that is in pounds, because I know Americans measure their paper in pounds. Okay, then we're going to go back through everything this way. The first line is always the worst, I will admit that. Back through the last one, so you're back into the middle of the book and you've gone the whole length of the, oh sorry, I'm well out. The whole length of the holes. So what I want to do now, make sure this is nice and tight. And I'm going to go back the other way, so I'm going to go back through this hole. Now it's a lot easier because all the holes are lined up. So basically I'm making it look like there's going to be one long stitch here. So I'm going back from the outside through to the middle with the next hole. Going back this way. If you want to, if you don't want to flap around, oh, it's a daisy. That's what happens when you catch your thread. If you don't want to flap around, you can then, very carefully if you want, tie these together here. I'm going back inside. See, look, I've caught my thread again. I don't want to catch your thread, it makes it untidy. So I've gone back through, putting it tight. I'm going underneath that bit there, and the loop that I've made I'm going through, and then I'm pulling it up to the top where it will make a little knot. Then I am going through back to the other side, to the outside, where I will now have both strings and the knot. I caught it again. Oh, Oh, let's try that bit again. Right, where am I? Da, 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 da. Come on, why is this not gone? Oh. I hate it when things don't work out. Oh, apparently I've done nothing. I've just taken my knot and pulled it through again. Okay, let's try this again. This is getting very, very strange. Very, very strange indeed. Okay, so I'm going to go over and under, and then I'm going back through it this way this time. Let's see if that works. I've never had this trouble before, ever. Right, wish me luck, people. I'm now going back through. Oh dear, woohoo! Okay, so now I've got both the strings. She says, I can't even get any decent light on here. I've got both strings coming out this side. Let's bring you in closer. Okay, so I've got both strings here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pokey tool. I could use my needle, but I'm using my pokey tool. I'm going underneath this piece of string. I'm hooking the one without the needle on it, and I'm pulling it underneath that middle piece of string. The needle, I'm doing exactly the same. I'm going underneath in the opposite direction. So now I have them either side of this string. I can take my needle off now, and I can tie these in a knot. Hello, Barkley. Okay, so 2-3 knots. Now if you want to, you can then cut that off, and because it's nylon thread, you can then singe it and press it in and it'll melt together. But that with a lot of faff apparently is how you get this. Right, let's get you back up a bit. My camera's not extremely steady. Okay, so do that to all your signatures. So I have filmed this now 3 times. Here's the 3 signatures I've done. I've got 15 more to do. You will only have 5 more to do. I will have 13 more to do. You will only have 5 more to do. Oh, my ice cubes are completely gone. So the next thing we're going to do play a drinking game. Every time I say or so, take a shot. You'll be drunk within 5 minutes, I swear. The next thing I'd like to do is make the dividers. I remembered what the name was. I want to make the dividers for in between the folios. Is it too hot for you, baby boy? Sit on your towel there, cool down. So I think to make my dividers, we're just going to ignore that I've dropped everything over the floor. I think I'm going to use this cup because it's 230 GSM, and I'm going to use a patterned side, and the other side I'm going to put black paper on. And on that black paper side, I will explain when I get there. Right, so I need to cut out, and I'm going to do it just with the black paper for now. Where's my bits gone? Right, I'll have to get a fresh piece of card. Oh, this is good card. Okay, what I want to do is cut a piece that is and I measured this a few times because I kept on forgetting that it goes inside. Right, so we want a piece that is 5 and I'm glad I wrote this down. 5 and oh dear, 5 3/8. So 5 3/8. And if I was really in the mood, I could cut all of these on my Cricut, and that would be so much easier. And I can choose 9 1/4 or 9 1/2. I think I'm going to choose 9 3/8. Okay, I am designing my own papers for these folios. And these dividers, so these are going to be the dividers that just slip in between the folios. And what I'd like to do is, and I hate doing this because sometimes this does not work out, I do have a crocodile, but I don't think it's very neat. She says, okay, I might use my crocodile. See, this is a bit neater when it goes right. This is a 10mm, and I'm only doing it at the top. What I will then do is grab a piece of paper that I will have printed out on the headers that I want. So that will be the Wheel of the Year headers, and they will be about, I will have them about 3/4 of an inch to an inch, maybe an inch. So there, 8 1/4. These are 9 3/8. So yeah, 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to cut them. This will be 3/4 of an inch wide. I'd write it in pen, but I've lost my pen. I am having no luck. I hate this weather. Okay, so I will have a strip of paper. You could leave it plain if you wanted to, where you could write on what that folio is for, and then there will be either a pocket here with a little sheet of paper in which tells you the correspondences and such like of each Sabbath or festival, or there will just be a sheet that I've made, like a cheat sheet, and I say the other side will be the patterned paper. I'm not a huge fan of blue. Navy blue reminds me of school. It was the colour of my school uniform, which is why I never wear it. Though I do have a navy blue and white polka dot dress. So yeah, you could just and it might be nice to have maybe some of the lighter side. So I should be able to get 2 out of each one of these, and it'll just be cut out, so glued together, and then I'll have the strip on this side and the page that I'm making. So that will be everything I'm doing at the moment, because now I am going to design the pages for each of the folios.